Good morning and welcome in. It is Mornings in Meridian here on this Thursday, October the 5th. Hope everybody's having a great morning so far as we kick off the first hour of the two best hours of local live talk radio here in East Mississippi and West Alabama. And, of course, lots of ways to stay connected to the show. One is by phone. We want to hear from you because this is the People's Show. 601-485-9191. Your chance to actually speak to us here on Mornings in Meridian. And you can also listen online at WALTmeridian.com. Of course, that traditional way on the radio dial 102.1 FM and the Facebook feed as well. Go like and follow us on Facebook. You can always search WALT Talk Radio, like us, follow us, and watch us there on the feed. So, yeah, I think we're fitting in the screens just beautifully this morning. So,
there you go.
All right, well, good morning, folks. I'm Rob, and he's here. It's PT, Paul Tarver.
Hey, y'all, it's Paul.
How are you, sir?
I'm well. You know, it's been a couple weeks since I saw you. A lot of water under the bridge since I was here.
Well, somebody started that.
I know, but it's been a.
But I'm a man of the people because I like to have multiple guests in to co-hosts.
Right.
You know, I like to I like to spread the love around. But somebody made a comment that was a little outlandish. Which was basically, they like Toby better than Paul, and I thought that was a little much.
You know, that's okay. And Toby's probably got a face for all the social media stuff. I got a face for radio.
Love it.
Look, if you want funny music and history and politics all rolled into one, I am like your go-to man.
Bam! I like it. So, but
he's just history.
Yeah, he is that. So
tell him I said that tomorrow.
Paul versus Toby, part 2.
Yeah, that'll be his his new tagline.
I love it.
I'm Toby Bates. I'm history.
I'm history. I love it. Folks, glad to have you alongside us this morning for folks who are plugged in online and, of course, here on the radio as well. But before we get too deep into the show, I want to thank one of our great local sponsors, and this is one of my favorites, great customer service down at Purvis Business Machines. And, it's not just a tagline down at Purvis. They live by it. Service, not excuses, since 1979.
I got one better than that. They're not just customer service, they're friends.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, after you've done work with these people, you're going to be friends with them. And that goes all the way to the top. Jerry and Betty Purvis been making friends in this community since 1979. I've been friends with Don Lucas now for, almost 30 years. Can you believe that?
Wow.
But I know that the whole company from top to bottom has a heart for service, and they're there to take care of all your printing needs or your office automation needs. And I just can't think of a better person or people to call when you have something wrong with a printer or copier or anything else. And that's good folks at Purvis Business Machines. They're located out there on Highway 39, right across from Meridian Little Theater. You know where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Just as you get up on the Meridian Little Theater, look to your left, you see the big building with all the Purvis signs. That's the place. And give them a call today if you need a printer or you have a copier that needs to be replaced, whatever. I know they have inventory. I know Don is getting after it these days. They finally, after all this, are starting to get their inventory flowing again as far as sales of new products. But they got everything from used, new, you name it, they got it, and Don can help you with that anytime, any day. Just give them a call at 601-693-COPY. That's 601-693, what is that, C-O-P, no, 2679.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3.
I could spell copy. So anyway, just call them. They'll help you out, I promise.
I love it. Of course, first show we've had with Paul since the bond vote went down on Tuesday. I do have some numbers from our good friend Donna Jill Johnson. I have a lot of Donna Jill Johnson news this morning.
She is so good at what she does.
Because I want to keep her happy because she'll continue to feed us some good info. But we did go through the complete vote total yesterday. I'm just going to go through that again here with you real quick. There ended up being 5,195 votes. This does include the absentees, which they tallied in back on Tuesday evening.
Right.
But out of those 5,195, it was 4,317 against, 875 for. That was 83% to nearly 17%. So that's the updated numbers there. I do have a precinct breakdown as well, in case folks are interested. Out at Northeast Lauderdale, there at the middle school, The against vote was 980. The for was 289. So just over, well, nearly 1,300 folks voted at Northeast. So I know that's your precinct that you voted at back on Tuesday. So that was 77% to 22.
That's actually a little bit higher total vote turnout than I thought based on my visit. I figured it was going to be less than 1,000 voting, but.
Southeast Lauderdale against the bond was 786, for was 139.
Right.
That was nearly 85% against to 15% for. That was 925 votes out there at Southeast Middle. And let's see what else we got here as I flip to the next page. West Lauderdale, biggest vote total of all. Not a big surprise here as far as the votes go. Against, though, was 1,741. 338-4.
Yeah,
that's pretty lopsided.
They almost got that one right.
Yeah, 2,080 votes out at West Lauderdale. That was nearly 84% to just over 16%. Out at Clarkdale, it had the biggest percentage against as far as percentages go.
Right.
Against the bond was 817. For was 109. Against was 88% to nearly 12% for. That was 919 total votes out there at Clarkdale. So that's a precinct breakdown of the 4 schools from back on Tuesday. But, Paul, your first show since the bond election went down on Tuesday, just to get your thoughts. So we spent a lot of time on this yesterday because it was obviously Wednesday morning quarterbacking after an election. And we talked a little bit about the missteps of the school district and kind of what went wrong on that end. The passion of the folks that really got out and voted. I'll be honest, the 2 biggest things that shocked me yesterday, and I'll just go ahead and throw them back on the table today, was the gap between against and for. A little surprised by the turnout. I thought it was going to be 2,500, maybe 3,000.
I was in the 3,000 range.
Yeah, the turnout was
much higher than I thought.
It was much higher. A lot of folks, well, it's still not. Well, it's a lot better than we thought it was going to be for one initiative on a ballot.
When you look at most bond issues and the total turnout was, I really was predicting about 3,000. I was asked on Monday how to gauge what was going to happen. I said, well, I can't. I can't read tea leaves. I can't tell you exactly. I said, but given the conversations, the anecdotal evidence of the conversations I'm having, if people vote with the same passion that they're talking about this.
Bingo.
This is going down.
Yeah.
And I said, at a minimum, it's going down where they're not going to hit 60% for it. Mm-hmm. I had no clue that it was not going. That it was going to be not no, but hell no.
Yeah.
And that it was going to be that dramatic a swing. That was a pretty amazing thing. As a matter of fact, I had talked to my father Monday night before all this went down. And I was explaining it's Tuesday night after the vote, but before we got any totals.
Yeah.
And how I was frustrated and I didn't know what was going on and everything. I called him back. He said, well, on Tuesday night, he said, well, school bond issues always pass. I said, that's a sad state of affairs because, the biggest issue for me was the word had come out that this was going to go forward regardless of how we voted.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Okay, because at that point, it's no longer a vote about the CTE. It's a vote about taxes. Yeah. Right? I think that was the big difference.
Yeah, that was the big difference.
I called him on yesterday and told him how it went down, and he just giggled like a schoolboy. He said, that is amazing. He said, that was awesome. He said he had never seen anything like that in his life, and he's been around 80 years. So it was a big, dramatic shift, and it was a message because it wasn't one district, one voting
Every
precinct.
one of them.
All of them had a huge gap.
Overwhelming.
The messaging on this was so off point that I think at the end of the day, people said, no, I'm just not going to go along with this. And I had to laugh, after the votes started coming in and we realized, I texted you when the votes started coming in that I was realizing this was fixing to be a seismic shift.
Yep.
I said, this is amazing. Well, I started seeing people post on there, well, Lauderdale County has done themselves a disservice and they're not taking care of the kids and they're not doing all this. And then the letter came out from the superintendent where he had the blurb. It says, we're going to move forward with this project in a way that doesn't affect taxpayers. And I was like, what was this whole charade about?
Yeah, the closest gap was Northeast, 77% to nearly 23.
Here so I was proud of my district. Now you just shut me down. We were the low man on the totem pole.
Still a big gap.
I know.
I mean,
but you see, my point is the fact that the people that were for this were claiming it was about the children.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was ever about the children.
Yeah. A lot of missteps. along the way.
And you pointed out yesterday the one that I completely missed was how he addressed the letter.
Yeah.
The letter was addressed not to Lauderdale County
The CT supporters.
school supporters, which we all are. And I think everybody that was against this prefaced it by saying, hey, I'm all for CTE training.
Should have said dear community.
Dear community or dear Lauderdale
voters,
County.
dear Lauderdale County voters, or whatever it might have been. So let's go to the phone line this morning at 485-9191. Hey, caller, thanks for holding. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Listen, how many did you say voted against it totally?
The total vote against was 4,317. For was 875. That was 83.15% against, and the for was 16.85.
So you had 875 people that basically voted that probably don't contribute to taxes.
Well, it's interesting you said that because I had somebody talk to me on Tuesday, and their comment was, well, we've looked at it, and it's not going to affect us too much on our taxes, so me and my wife are voting for the children. And I went, so you're going to gamble that they're going to do everything that they're telling you they're going to do? And he said, oh, yeah. I said, so you're going to gamble with my money? You hadn't even considered my role.
That's what happens, unfortunately, in society when people that don't contribute to the expenses get to have a vote. So therein lies the problem.
Right.
It doesn't affect your pocket. The quickest way to get anybody's attention is get in their pocket. Okay,
right.
That's just that's an old saying, I guess, but I think it still holds true. And listen, we shouldn't be surprised. And I know some of the people that's on the board, and I guess I probably shouldn't say it, but we shouldn't be surprised. Anybody that will vote to start school in the hottest month of the year and not think about saving money, if they'd done that probably for 3 or 4 years, they could pay for the thing just on the utility savings with all the schools. I mean, you think, we start in August.
Right.
Hottest month of the year, no matter what year it is. I mean, it's the hottest month. Why do we do that? That's millions of dollars right there.
Right.
Okay. I mean, it really is. That's just one thing on savings. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised people making decisions like that to make a decision to do a bond issue. And look, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand they're going ahead with it anyway.
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, they're still going ahead with it anyway because they've gotten that $8 million from the state, and that money is only designated for the CT building. But they've already spent 1.5 of it already on various other things to kind of either gut the building or a lot of other things that they've already designed.
I understood a certain individual here. I'm not going to name him. Most everybody is listening probably would know, but I understood the architect's got $1.5 million already.
I don't know the distribution of those funds at this point, so I can't speak to that.
Well, the way it was designated is that the architect was part of that. They had asbestos they had to clean out of there and other various item lines. But from what I understood, the $1.5 million was not just for the architect. So
that's kind of what I understood.
That was presented in a lot of the meetings, and that was quoted in several other media outlets as well. The 1.5 was not just for the architect; it was to acquire the property, hire an architect, completely gut the existing building, pay for permits, remove asbestos, and have design plans drawn up. That's what the 1.5 was for.
Well, to me, if they're going ahead with it already, what the hell did we need $20 more million for?
That's been said a lot.
That was my question.
That's been said a lot.
Why did we go through this if they didn't have to have it? But
and look, it costs what, 40 some odd $1,000 to put the election on.
Yeah, it was ballpark between 36 and nearly 50. So yeah, somewhere between those lines there.
Well, look, I'm doing simple math here, and I know it's based on what your pay rate and all is, but it sounds to me like that's another teacher for a year.
Yeah, you're right.
That we just
not with benefits, but maybe a teacher's aide.
In the wind. Yeah.
No, I get you. I understand your frustration. And I'm going to explain where I think a lot of this came from. Let me throw this out there. Most people don't realize this, but my college degree is actually in marketing. So one of the things I pay attention to is how the process was sold. But there's something that happens if you go and buy a new car and you drive it home, and in the first couple of days you got this twisty feeling in the gut that's telling you, man, I've made a mistake. I'm you know, whatever. It takes a few days for you to get over that, and that's called cognitive dissonance. And what that means is that your brain subconsciously is taking a look at what you've done and comparing that against what the alternatives are. And sometimes it's really strong. And I think in this case, people were hearing a lot of information coming from the people that were pitching this, and their guts were twisting up in knots because the cognitive dissonance between what they were seeing with their own eyes was not adding up to what they were being told.
Right.
And I think that gap is what affected this vote.
In my world, we call that an impulse buyer.
Right.
You buy on impulse and regret it later.
Yeah, my wife hates to tell me to go buy something because I'll spend 3 weeks researching it until I'm absolutely positive this is the right decision, and she's like, "Just buy it already."
We don't. We just really don't need you as a customer. 'Cause
Yeah.
You take too long.
Look, I had somebody tell me unequivocally on Monday, told me outright that they were prepared to hold their nose, even though they had all this problems and questions in their mind, that they were prepared to hold their nose and vote for this because it was for the kids.
Yeah. Well, listen, Paul. You know, the thing is, in my case, it would have been thousands of dollars more a year because there's multiple pieces of property. You know.
Right.
Okay. And the second part of that is those people talking about holding their nose and voting for it. They must don't realize that MCC, I mean, that we've got plenty of workforce development and plenty of free training when it comes to welding, mechanics,
construction,
pole climbing, driving school, construction. We've got 3 colleges basically within 45 miles of here. They provide all. That's not counting West Alabama. I'm just talking in Mississippi.
Oh yeah, I heard a lot of people talking about Scuba's got some great workforce training.
Absolutely,
programs.
Absolutely. East Central.
The same. I think they got a big air conditioning training thing out there.
That's correct. So guess what? We're already as taxpayers in one form or another paying for that. Okay.
Right. And I think
these schools don't build all this stuff on tuition. I promise you.
Well, I'm sure that's part of what everybody was looking at, going, okay, I'm putting this in the balance of what's needed. But there were
875. Yeah.
But there were issues that I had that were even more substantive than that. It was like, we're going to put in a coffee shop and we're going to compete with local providers, local businesses, so the kids can get experience instead of setting up internships at real businesses who are looking for people to work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was kind of an obvious thing. But those are the things that stood out in my mind, and I think frankly, whether they were conscious of what made them feel negative toward this or not, there was enough there that they were saying this just is, the numbers aren't adding up. And like when they tell you we're going to use everything for CTE out of the bond issue,
that's what was said. Yeah,
all right. But
exactly.
they also said that they were going to pay for the election out of the bond issue, right? But they also said they were going to renovate rooms that used to be CTE to be used for other things.
Correct.
All of a sudden, does that start to feel like lying?
Yeah, it was few things bouncing off the wall didn't make sense.
All of a sudden, I'm starting hearing all these things they were going to do with the money that wasn't CTE.
I've heard the comments that said, Randy Hodges started, this was his goal to do something like this. But I'm going to tell you the reason he never did, okay, if you don't already know. He knew good and well if he'd done this type of deal after maxing the county out by law for education on the tax bill or tax rate, that there's no way that he would get reelected. So therein lies a problem. Your board members are elected.
Yep.
Your superintendent's not.
Yep.
He can be from anywhere or she can be from anywhere, not have any ties to the local community, and could care less about what people think that's paying them.
Right.
So legislature did us a disservice as society and voters when they done away with elected superintendents and let the governor appoint them. That is a mistake, a big one.
Yeah,
We wouldn't even be talking about this, in my opinion, if somebody had to run and get reelected on forcing down the voters' throat and the taxpayers' throat referendum like this,
Yeah.
Well, and I think
But
the
anyway,
voters are
I'm
smart enough
listening
to.
in.
All right. Appreciate you out there.
I think
All right, bye.
I think the voters are smart enough to know when it's something that's necessary versus when it's not.
Sure.
And I think they would make the right choice. I have faith in that part. Given they voted for the president.
Real quick
that.
before we get to our next phone call, got a couple of reminders here. We're going to have a guest on a little after 8 o'clock this morning. One of your favorite events,
Oh yeah.
the Pumpkin Run.
Yeah.
The State Games of Mississippi Pumpkin
Pumpkin
Run. So we'll talk about that coming up after 8 o'clock. But I did want to read this information from Donna Jill as far as the deadline for voter registration. I know we got a phone call here, and Fox News. We ain't worried about that. The deadline week is here for voter registration for the November 7th general election, rather. All 82 counties will be open daily with regular office hours from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. and also on Saturday, October the 7th from 8 a.m. until noon to accommodate voters. The deadline now falls on a Monday, with this year being on Monday, October the 9th at 5 p.m. for in-person or postmarked October 9th if you mail it in.
Okay.
Now, every time a voter moves, the circuit clerk needs to be notified. For your vote to count, you need to be voting in your correct precinct. Check with your family, neighbors, coworkers, church members, and friends to make sure that they are registered to vote, especially if they are new to the area. So just want to pass the word along from Donna Jill to folks out there that they will have the offices open this Saturday in case you need to use them this Saturday to get registered and get ready to go for the November 7th general election. They will be open this Saturday, 8 a.m. until 5, and that deadline is Monday by 5 o'clock to get registered.
So if you voted in the primary and you haven't moved, you're probably okay.
You're good.
Okay.
So this is for the new folks.
New people.
the new
Especially new folks.
The new peeps. There you go. And for folks who've never gotten registered, I mean, come on.
Come on.
There we go. Let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
Well listen, I'm got a real concise message here to the supporters of the school bond, as did the superintendent.
Yes, sir.
Well, listen, can I share that with you? It's 3 sentences long.
Yes.
If it's not going to get us in trouble with the FCC, sure.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. My note is some concerned citizen analysts recognize the failure of the $12.5 million school bond can be credited to the bond language, which exhibited all the DNA of the Butler Snow type pushers of the government bonds establishment who peddle financing without accountability. Shame on elected and appointed boards, councils, and commission members who promote snake oil spending embedded with deceit. Listen, I just wanted to share that with you.
Well, thank you. And it was safe, too. Thank you.
Yeah, it was
I appreciate
very
that.
safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm dead.
well, here's the thing. One of the interesting words that popped out in that to me was the accountability point. One of the questions that I asked early on in this process, and Rob, it was true because I asked it while I was on here, I said, somebody came up with the number $12.5 million. And most people, when they do that, they put that in a spreadsheet and they say, I'm going to spend X number of dollars for this and X number of dollars for this, and they're going to hit the sum button at the bottom, and it's going to say $12.5 million.
Right.
Okay, so if they did that, and there's a spreadsheet somewhere, share it with us.
Yeah.
Just let us know so that we have some, you're taking responsibility for the total amount, and you're telling us, here's what you hold me accountable, this is what we're going to use it for.
Every nickel,
Right.
dime, dollar, penny, every bit of it.
That never happened, and I waited until Friday of last week to commit to a no vote because I was hoping that I would see that information be published somewhere.
There's a laugh on the other end.
Wait. So my point was, since they did not release that information, there's 2 possible options in my mind.
Yeah.
One, that spreadsheet doesn't exist and they just made that number up. Or 2, the spreadsheet exists and they didn't want us to hold them accountable.
I think of this as that old, sports line where the commentator said if and buts was candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. That's right.
We've used that one before on our broadcast, so appreciate you, sir.
All right.
So yeah, I just thought it would have been real easy to share the spreadsheet with us.
Yeah.
Here's what it is. Here's what we're planning to do. Unless, and here's the other thing, too, is there was another thing. They kept having these things that we were told they had the language of the bond issue was set by state law and it had to be that way.
Right.
But then at some point they took buses out of that language.
They did.
Which means they were able to change the language.
Exactly.
So
got another phone call on the line. Caller, hang on just one moment because we need to talk about a big fundraiser that's happening this Saturday. If you like fish and shrimp, you need to be a part of this. It is a fundraiser for Hope Village. It's going to be taking place at the Fleet Reserve Association building, 264 there on Highway 39 this Saturday. Beginning at 2, and boy, they're going to have fish plates for $10, shrimp plates for $15, or if you just want to get them both.
Sounds
they got
good.
Fish and shrimp, $20, and every single dollar is going to go back to Hope Village. Great organization here locally, here in East Mississippi, here in Meridian. All plates will include coleslaw and potato salad. Donations are always appreciated. If you don't want to eat, just drop by a donation. You can do that. That is this Saturday at the Fleet Reserve Association building out on Highway 39. And once again, the fish fry fundraiser for Hope Village. Come on, come all to the big fundraiser this Saturday, 2 o'clock. And it says 2 to onward. So they're going to be there all day. There you go.
Fish and shrimp. That sounds like
Sounds like a meal to me. So, yeah, get out there and support them on Saturday and help out Hope Village. Let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning.
I voted no on that thing because it sounded a lot like the Biden administration.
Okay. In what way?
And I thank you, sir.
All right,
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Well,
all right, there you go.
Short and sweet, and say your piece and move on.
There you go.
It's great.
601-485-9190. We need to take a break here, and what do we always say? Pay some of those bills here on the program. And when we come back, we'll get back to more of your phone calls at 485-9191. It's Mornings in Meridian. We'll have state games in Mississippi on a little bit later on this morning. Talk about Paul's favorite event, the Pumpkin Run. The running of the pumpkins. So we'll take a break, and we'll be back. Long distance dedication going out to Hazmat this morning. That's one of his favorites there. Reason to play a little AC/DC. Brian Johnson from AC/DC, Paul, is 76 today.
God, that's just I don't know what it is about that, but it just.
Steve Miller's 80 today.
Again.
I'm sorry. The hits just keep on coming.
Well, I've made the comment on mixtapes that, we had a rough year this last year. We lost several icons.
Oh, yeah, sure.
In classic rock. And I made the comment that, it's not going to get any better.
Yeah.
We're just at that point where some of these people are aging out. I know Mick Jagger and Keith Richards are going back on the road at 80, but not everybody has their energy level.
No, they don't. Other birthdays on the list today, actress Kate Winslet, of course, Titanic. She's turning 48 today. Guy Pearce, 56. Karen Allen, of course, she's been in a lot of great movies. Of course, in the Indiana Jones, some of those movies. She's 72 today. One of the Baldwins, Daniel Baldwin, is 63 today. And the late Bernie Mac would have been 66 today. Of course, we lost him back in 08. The Bernie Mac show and a lot of other movies. Of course, mentioned Steve Miller there. NBA star Grant Hill is 51 today. Hockey great. This is for Zane. Mario Lemieux is 58 today. And the late American president Chester A. Arthur, the 21st president, was born on this day back in 1829. So there you go. He's
been dead a lot longer than he was alive. So
yeah, we lost him back in 1886.
Yeah.
So didn't have a good run there.
Been a while.
So of course, the 21st president of the United States, who ascended to the office following the assassination of President James A. Garfield. So there you go, a little history for you. So Toby, of course, will give us a full breakdown of that.
Yeah, I'm not that guy. I love it. Yeah, ask me about AC/DC or Rolling Stones or something. I got you back. So,
and finally on the birthday list, the late McDonald's head honcho Ray Kroc.
Ray Kroc
was born on this day back in 1902. He passed away in 1984, responsible for turning McDonald's into the world's dominant fast food chain. He joined the company in 1954, and of course that story speaks for itself right there.
Well, and he has to be given credit because I think he was the guy that came up with the idea of frying French fries in beef tallow, which would have been a lot better than this vegetable, non-saturated stuff they're doing these days.
Exactly. Before we get to our next phone call here, let's thank our friends down at Battery One Source. Paul, I had to use Battery One Source not too terribly long ago. Had a dead battery in my vehicle, and they got it fixed as quick as you can believe.
Yeah, and you had great customer service when you were down there, didn't you? Because they just jumped out there and took care of it.
We love customer service at Mornings in Meridian.
And locally, you can get that in a lot of places, but you certainly going to get it at Battery One Source. John Dufour's got a great business down there. I mean, they got batteries for everything from your phone, for your computer, for your car, for your golf cart, to anything's got a battery, they got a way to fix it. And they would love to help you today with your battery needs. All you got to do is show up. I forgot to mention watches. They even have watch batteries.
Yeah, batteries for everything.
They could have a lot of watch batteries because they don't take up a lot of room. But they have, it's amazing how many batteries for all the stuff they got in that small little building.
It's unreal.
It's unbelievable how much they got. But they want to help you. They got testers. If you just think your battery's acting up, run by there and let them check your battery, and they can do that for you. Johnny on the spot. They carry a wide range of cell phone accessories and things like that. Flashlights, regular accessories, cables, you name it. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The phone number out there is 601-693-1500. That's 601-693-1500. In case I didn't say it, they're on the frontage road next door to what was Frugier Oil, right?
Mm-hmm, so correct.
Right there on the just right there. You know where they are. Go see them.
All right, fantastic. Let's go back to the phone line. Hey, caller, thanks for holding. Good morning.
Good morning. How y'all?
Hey, we're doing good, sir. How about you?
Doing good. I got a question. I've lived in this county, Lauderdale County, for all my life. And the thing about it is, I just want to know is how's Clarkdale? They had them problems 2 years ago with that tornado.
Yes, sir.
Are they going to be taken care of? And I don't even live in Clarkdale area. But are they going to be, how are they getting taken care of?
Well, I mean, I really think one of the big tipping points during this whole bond, the meetings they had at the 4 school districts, I think the Clarkdale one was a big tipping point in this whole process because of the mold that was not notified to the parents in a lot of these buildings. Of course, the tornado, as the caller just mentioned, that ripped through, and still have not made repairs out there on campus. But I said in the beginning of this, I don't live in the Clarkdale area, but that is my precinct that I went and voted at. And I have a lot of friends that send their kids to school at Clarkdale, so I'm pretty plugged into that situation out there. And there's a lot of frustration building up out there. And I think a lot of the voters out there said, you know what? Let's take care of the issues on this campus first, and then we can cross the bridge of CT maybe later. So, but I don't know how they're going to take care of these folks. So,
I don't live in the Clarkdale community, but the thing is that they got $8 million from the state.
Yes, sir.
And what I understand, them kids still don't have, like they're still working in mobile.
Oh, yeah, with plumbing problems.
Yeah, plumbing problems. I got them in trailers. I mean, it's just this.
I went to school. I went to school in trailers when I was a kid. It wasn't horrible, but it is not safe in a tornado or a bad storm area.
Exactly.
Right.
And you got to have at least a gym to go to be safe, or try to be safe.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, that's. I think if I lived in Clarkdale area, that would be one of the things that would.
Well, and I think that was
really that's my biggest problem with the school board or the school.
Well, and I'm going to tell you what, those frustrations were put at the forefront at that meeting, and like I said, that was the third of the 4 meetings. I'm going to tell you what, that was brought to the forefront, and I think that got a lot of folks' attention in the community that are not plugged in to Clarkdale, that don't live in that community. And I think that, I'm not saying that was the ultimate swinger in this whole thing, but I think that had some effect on this.
I will say this. I think that, interestingly enough, all districts voted this down by significant margins, but Clarkdale still found a way to make it known, send a message of their own, because they were the one with the widest range. What was it, 88%?
Yeah, it was the biggest percentage.
Yeah.
And caller, I want to remind you as well, we've said it several times on this program, the money that the $8 million from the state, it can only be used for the CT building. It cannot be used for anything else but that.
I've heard that. I know that's the thing about it. You know, they could have used that money, or should have been able to use that money to fix Clark. That's the number one thing. I mean, and here's another thing that's been on my mind. I work for the railroad.
Yes, sir.
And I've been here 25 years, and I've lived in Lauderdale County for a long time. And we've missed opportunities a lot as far as having great jobs. All the good jobs, like up there at the Toyota plant, we should have had more opportunities than we do, because logistically, we're where 2 interstates meet. We're 90 miles from Tuscaloosa, we ain't 2 hours from the coast or New Orleans. You know what I mean? And there's no reason why we shouldn't have more opportunities like that. And I don't blame, and my main blame is, and I don't know how true it is too, but this is all hearsay. But the EMBCC or whatever it is, the
EMBDC,
right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right. These folks make either close to, now, like I said, I don't know how true it is, but what I've heard is they make close to 6 figures. And they don't do anything. There's no reason why. If we'd had jobs here like that, or companies here around this area, because there's so many up in North Mississippi, there's no reason why we shouldn't have more jobs and companies like that here around this area.
Well, it's interesting
there's no excuse for it, and if we're paying these people to do something, for us to get jobs, there's no reason to have a CT place. You ain't gonna get jobs around here.
Well, Toby Bates will tell you this:
these companies come in, they look at it, and I blame the supervisors too, because a lot of it, they should be out there representing Lauderdale County. They should be out there trying. You ever hear anybody doing that?
Yes.
I ain't never heard of them.
They do go to conferences. They do try to do that. So I'll take up for the supervisors on this. I do know that they do go to some of the conferences related to, economic development, and they do try to get out and go visit people who are looking at being a part of Lauderdale County and what have you. It's interesting, though, that what you say is actually true. When you look back in 1890 to about 1920, it's kind of the heyday of Meridian. There was a time during that time that Meridian was actually the biggest city in the South, even bigger than Birmingham. There was a time. That's why we have 3-foot buildings, because we were blowing and going.
Yeah.
The question then becomes, what happened? What changed?
I tell you what a lot of people think it is. I tell you exactly what: old money. People that there are certain groups. I'm not going to say who. There's certain families. I ain't going to say who. But they kept it. They kept it from coming in because they knew if new industries come in and about, I'd say between the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they knew if they come in, then they would have to. They would have to end up having to pay people higher amount.
I have a different opinion about that, and my opinion on it is like this. I moved to Lauderdale County in 1989. And when I started my business in 1992, I was told by somebody, your business is never going to succeed here because, old money and that you ain't never going to get any business and you're not going to do that. But here's the thing that I can look back 31 years later. Mm-hmm. There's an awful lot of people here who are not old money, who are not part of historical Lauderdale County families because of the base or what have you. We have a large influx of people who come in, and those people do business with people. Mm-hmm. They do business with me. Yeah. And I can sit here and tell you that 31 years later, we've been successful in terms of starting a business here. We're not the Toyota plant, okay? I can't hire but just so many people in my business. Yeah. But what bothers me, wait, let me wrap this up. The reason I think there's a problem goes back to your original comment about EMBDC. In all that time, the only time anybody from economic development ever crossed the threshold of my door was when we were having a ribbon cutting and there was cake and punch being served. Not single time has anybody ever.
And that's when you first opened.
Anytime I had a ribbon cutting, they, we want to be a part, right? But not a single time has any one of them walked across my threshold and said, what can we do to help you grow your business? What needs to be? What do you need in order to make your business better? They would rather chase 100 They'd rather chase a business with 100 employees than to help 100 Lauderdale County businesses hire one employee, which to me is more impressive, because those don't get up and leave in the middle of the night.
Right.
But that's my soapbox.
I can bend you on your. Going out on a limb to try. To do that, and I do. But I'm just saying. There's no reason in the world why Lauderdale County shouldn't have good paying jobs in this county.
And I don't disagree with that at all.
There's no excuse for it.
You think about our location. If you draw a circle that is on a map that is a maximum of 4 hours.
Sure.
Or 4.5. Let's go 4.5. You got Memphis, you got New Orleans, you got Mobile, you got Pensacola, you got Atlanta just a little on the outside of that, Chattanooga just a little on the outside of that. We're pretty much the dead center of the Deep South.
And the thing about it is, you got within a 90-minute drive, you got Tuscaloosa, you got Jackson, you got Starkville, you got
we could be the Cleveland, Ohio of the South.
Yeah, Hattiesburg.
And I didn't mean to leave those out.
Well, that's a little closer. You're talking about the broad area.
Broad area. You look at the big metropolitan areas that are within a 4 hour to 4.5 hour range.
I don't know. If I may be wrong, but I think one of them plants that we had that went over there toward Montgomery. We had back. I don't know how long ago it was. I just remember something about it in the news. We had that gun plant. We had a plant team that wanted to looked at Meridian and ended up, for whatever reason, they ended up over around Montgomery, between Montgomery and West Georgia, somewhere around in that area. We did have. It was a Kia plant, I believe.
Right. Yep.
And it don't make sense. And that's just my opinion, but.
Well, here's the thing, here's what I would say. The same thing that I said earlier is the fact that if economic development focused internally and helped local businesses grow to their maximum capability, I think that would be a great feather in our cap for somebody coming here.
Yeah.
Right. And then the incentive of if you had more jobs coming or more companies like that coming, and then have incentives, not just necessarily just to help them in as far as the taxes.
Well, I have my own soapbox about that too, because I mean, tell you what, I've had a business in this town for. I've had
people. I understand, but
But I'm just saying, I've had a business in this town a long time. Ain't nobody ever give me a tax incentive for being here or keeping my door open. I guarantee you.
And I understand that.
Yeah.
And I get that.
And I don't think that's fair.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right, appreciate you, sir. Right. Appreciate that.
Sorry, he's hitting some hot button issues for me because as a small business owner, that stuff jumps out real strong in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, absolutely.
There ain't nobody offering me tax incentives. Ain't nobody coming over wanting to know how to grow my business, one more employee. That's just not happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just, and it sounds like we beat this drum all the time with why aren't we getting something here in Meridian, Lauderdale County? I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into this. And, of course, when we talk about this, the phone lines light up because people are so passionate about it. But another aspect of this, too, and I know you've heard a lot of folks say, well, every community has it, but dadgummit the crime issue here in Meridian.
You can't discount the crime issue.
I mean, you cannot just push that to the side and ignore the safety and security of the citizens of Lauderdale County and the city of Meridian, especially the city of Meridian. But, when these outside entities, Paul, start looking at our city and our county, that is on the table. And it is in a lot of other areas, too. A lot of other areas have crime, but here in Meridian, it's right there.
But I would also say that there's a lot of negativity in talking about Meridian as well.
Yeah.
Amongst the general population, the media, and otherwise.
Sure.
So, I mean, you can't say it's one thing or the other. I think it's a multitude of things.
It is.
And I don't know what the fix is, other than focus on what we do best, help our people who are here grow their business, and hopefully if it grows, then somebody sees that and wants to be a part of it.
Yeah. Let's go back to the phone line. Got folks ringing in, 601-485-9191. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, now.
I just want to chime in on what that last caller had to say.
Yes, sir.
Olive Branch, Mississippi, in the last 15 years, that place has exploded with jobs up there. There's an area up there just nothing but rows and rows of warehouses up there. I mean, FedEx, you name it, it's one little area up there off Highway 305. I mean, it's just booming up there.
Let me ask you a question. Where all those jobs and all those businesses are, is that a significant flat terrain?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a big area of flat terrain up there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, terrain does play a part here because it's hard to find large swaths of just flat property. And I'm not saying that's the only reason, but I'm saying that is one of the things we have to contend with in Meridian that they don't have to contend with up north Mississippi. But I get your point. I think I'd be visiting Olive Branch and saying, "Hey, what'd y'all do?"
Yeah.
I mean, Sears used to have a distribution center out there. I used to haul freight out of there. Back then, in 2002, there was nothing but woods out there, and I went through that other day, and it just blew my mind at the amount of warehouses that they have up there.
Yeah, well, definitely when you get into warehousing, you got to have some big property.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, just look how big the Southern Pipe building is over there.
Mm-hmm.
They take up a lot of ground.
Well, what about that old that land out there that they got out there in an old industrial park? What about that?
Oh, yeah. I'm on your page. I know exactly what you're going next, which is Wyatt Nidfield.
Yeah,
I agree.
A lot of whys and not a lot of solutions.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate that. And of course, too, I haven't mentioned this yet, but, just south of here down in Clark County, they're about to get some industry down there. Howard Industries is about to come into Clark County, and that's going to equal about 200 jobs down there in Clark County. And, of course, that's 200 right out of the gate and possible another 600 next year. That's south of here.
I would tell you that I'm not just locked into Lauderdale either. I think the 5 or 6 county region that we call East Mississippi all need to be working on the same page for economic development.
Real quick, we got just about a minute left, caller, before we get to our Fox News break. Good morning to you.
Good morning. One area that we haven't addressed is that we have a lot of low-cost housing.
That, too. Yeah, you're right.
For the population of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So that is also a big factor.
That we have too much, you're saying, or too little?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In comparison to the population.
Sure. Absolutely.
And then the second thing that I was suggested, the caller was correct that, supervisors should be more engaged with new business. Do you think that it's because it's a part-time job? That maybe it needs to be a full-time job?
Maybe.
For $50,000,
Yeah, you're right. Well, we got to run here. We're on the top of a break here. Hey, appreciate you out there. All right, we're going to take a break here for Fox News. Then we'll talk about the pumpkin run coming up. right, welcome back in. It's Mornings in Meridian here on News Talk 102.1 WALT. Our number 601-485-9191. Of course, we're online at WALTmeridian.com and doing that Facebook thing, of course. WALT Talk Radio. Go search us and follow us and like us, and you can watch the show live here this morning, here on this Thursday, October the 5th. And Rob, been with you, of course. Paul Tarver. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, sir. You can watch us online, see us on Facebook, and you can see my ugly mug.
Woo!
That's why that's why I don't do Facebook streaming on Monday nights. I have a face for radio, and I like it that way.
We're going to talk about the state games of Mississippi pumpkin run coming up shortly, but first, let's talk about our friends down at Trucker Supply.
You know, I love the word conniptions. When I was growing up, you have a conniption. That ain't the same thing as a connipix.
We've had a few of those.
Everybody, if you want to not have a conniption, have some Knipex tools, because you won't have problems if you have Knipex tools. They got a full line of those down at Trucker Supply. It's a one-stop shop for all your tools. They started in 1969 with D.W. Carr. They've been doing it right ever since. They got a big building down there with red, white, and blue. It's hard to miss them, right next to McDonald's down there in front of the Popeyes. You notice how I reference all of these where you go eat?
Yeah, the eating places.
Yeah, that's how we give directions in the South.
It's a big circle.
Look, they got a huge room down there in Milwaukee Tools. I told this story when I was on with what's that other guy that works in here? Roger?
Yeah.
Okay, I was on with Roger.
He's somewhere around.
Yeah, I was on with Roger one day, and I was telling him that I went in there one day and I needed a hitch pin.
Yeah.
And I walked in and I said, I don't know where to look for this. I said, I need a hitch pin. The guy says, hey, and he customer service to he took me right to it, handed it to me, and I walked up, pulled out my credit card to pay for it. He said, it'll be $1.75. And I went, I'm going to put in that back. I want to just pay cash. I'm just telling you, not only will they have what you need, it'll be at a good price. They can help you with either gifts or stuff that you need to take care of your business, working with your cars and your vehicles or whatever. Go down and see them at Trucker Supply. Tell them we sent you. They are probably open at this moment. I don't see what time they have open on here.
They should be open. Doors should be open.
Yeah, they should be open. The phone number down there, if you want to check, is 601-693-2316. That's 601-693-2316. And go down there and see them on Highway 19 South and tell them we sent you.
All right, one of our favorite events is obviously the state games of Mississippi, and everybody thinks, oh, that's just a summer thing. No, they have events basically year-round now, and, of course, one of those events is coming up not this weekend, but the next weekend. It is Paul's favorite as well. It is the state games of Mississippi Pumpkin Run.
It's a pumpkin run.
It's a pumpkin run. And she is such a fan of the morning time. Caroline Compton in this morning.
Barely.
Get up into that mic there.
Coming in hot.
She didn't come in with a big coffee or anything, so she obviously, she's okay with this.
She's very lucky I don't show everybody the text messages we exchanged about her coming in the morning. I think my favorite ones, I was like, hey, we're going to go on about 8:10ish, something like that, and she said, I'll be there at 8:09:45. So
I know myself too well.
There we go.
We should have offered her like 8:45 and then
8:45. Yeah.
But I actually showed up at like 8:07:51, so
did?
I was early.
Yeah, look at that.
I love the fact that she's got it down to the second.
The second.
I was early.
Well, Caroline, of course, we talked about the state games. Everybody thinks, oh, that's just something they do in May and June and July. But no, this is basically, it's become like a year-round thing now. There's something all the time with state games, and you guys always stay busy.
Yes. In fact, last week, we had martial arts. And
last week?
Yes, or last weekend, or maybe it was 2 weekends ago.
Wow.
But I was telling somebody about it, and they said, oh, I thought when does state games end? I said, never.
Never.
Never ends.
Never ends. So.
We're always got something going on.
But this is a fun event, though. This is kind of an anniversary for you in some sense, because it was about a year ago. This was your first event to talk about. You've been doing this for a year now with state games.
I have, for sure, and I have loved it. It's been a learning experience, but it's been great.
All right,
do the state games start at 8 a.m. most time? Or? See, that's the challenge.
8:30.
We were nice the first time you came. Now you're part of the family. That means we're gonna get our digs in.
But this is a fun event, though, the Pumpkin Run. I mean, tell us about it. Of course, it's not this weekend; it is the following weekend.
Right,
so.
right. So it is next weekend, October 14th, and Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Southern are off for football.
Look at how they plan that. That's perfect.
For the Pumpkin Run.
That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about the people. I like it.
Yeah. So it'll be at Bonita Lakes at the upper lake by that boat ramp, and let's see, we will have a 5K run and then a 1 mile, mini pumpkin run for the kiddos. And we encourage costumes for adults and children. And we will have a first, second, and third place prize for adult and children in the costume category.
Okay, I completely misunderstood this. I thought there was actual pumpkins running in this thing.
You did this last
year. You did. we said we wanted you to run while holding the pumpkins.
I'll be more likely.
And you didn't do it, so.
No.
What's up with that?
She can give as good as she gets.
That's right. I like it.
You need to have her back.
She remembers very well.
I do.
Look, that joke worked last time, and it worked good this time. So y'all go ahead amongst yourselves while I come up with something.
Yeah, you go. Come up with new materials. So what time are we going to get going next Saturday?
We will probably be there around 7 a.m. And so you can register on site up until 7:45. The mini pumpkin run will begin at 8. The actual 5K pumpkin run will be at 8:30. Early registration before October 8th, the fee is $20, and after that it's $25. And then the mini pumpkin run will stay at $10.
There we go.
I would have thought you would have cut off the registration that morning at 7:44:51.
I would have.
You would have. I love it.
Rhonda Brand's running the sports, though, not me.
There you go.
So.
Oh, Rhonda, she's a morning person now. She's going to be up early doing it to it, so I like it. So.
Yes.
Well, of course, this is always a fun event because of the costumes. I mean, everybody runs in the costumes. That's always fun. The kids really get into this. And, of course, you guys have pumpkins out there, too, which is always fun.
Yeah. Just bring it in fall. Hopefully the temperatures will cooperate with us.
Well, if we can have a carryover from what is going to be like this weekend and next weekend, it's going to be perfect because it's going to be down into the 40s this weekend.
I've noticed a couple of mornings when I've come out to go to work, there's just that little sense that
there's a
little change in the air. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just enough to entice me.
But then by 3 p.m.
it's gone.
Yeah, it's
you're
gone.
Sweating again.
Exactly. So
doesn't last long.
Kind of switching gears here from the pumpkin run just into the state games in general. Of course, you guys had another successful summer with a lot of the sports. I mean, we always talk about the economic impact of state games in Mississippi. I mean, so many folks came into the city for these games this past year. I mean, I know that was a big shot in the arm, obviously, for the city in Lauderdale County.
It was. We are thankful again to have had another successful year. It seems to, be getting bigger every year, and we cannot do it without the support of the community. And so our sponsors, we call on them every year, and they pull through for us.
How many volunteers do you guys have from the community come out and work? Do you have any idea about that?
A lot, because we call on adults, and we also call on the social service clubs in Meridian,
right?
The Debs and the Dusties.
Look, I work with the Debs with the Optimist Club. They are amazing. If our future is in the hands of those girls,
I know.
we're good.
Good to go.
We've got
you can point them in a direction and say, "Go do that," and they're like
just
ants.
do it.
They just take care of it.
And they just do it.
And folks just don't realize, I mean, I know it's a statewide organization with the state games of Mississippi, but this is in our backyard here in Meridian, and obviously is vitally important. And you guys are adding more sports as we go along because a lot of these sports are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, like pickleball.
Huge.
Yeah, there's an article this week about how it's exploding in Meridian.
Yeah.
Pickleball. What? Pickles exploding. What is that about?
Yeah. It's great.
It's great.
It's great. It's so much fun. My mom is where I'm. My mom does not wake up early. That's probably where I get it from.
Get it natural.
She will go play pickleball in the summer. She was on the pickleball court at 7:30 a.m.
Well, that's because if she's there at 8, she can be sweating.
Yeah. And so I mean, they have this group. She's playing in a pickleball league on Tuesday nights. Like it is majorly exploded. We had over 130 participants last year and had to cut it off.
Wow.
Do we know what is it about pickleball that fascinates people?
I can't put my finger on it either. I mean, what is it about it that's made it so popular? Because, I mean, I think locally with high school sports, volleyball has been on the rise the last few years. Of course, soccer had that big run. They're still going what they're doing. But now it's all about pickleball for some reason. So I guess it's that time. But I've watched a little bit of it on television and seems like it's kind of like tennis, but it's a little different swing to it. So.
It is. And I can't play because I do play tennis. And so you go from a small court,
right,
like a wiffle ball and a heavy paddle to if you hit your tennis racket, if you swing your tennis racket as hard as you're swinging that pickleball, your tennis ball's going to fly over the fence.
Now, as far as the pickleball goes, I know we're talking about Pumpkin Run here, and that's coming up next Saturday. But with pickleball, of course, with that getting a lot bigger now, I mean, is there maybe a chance to maybe expand that a little bit more and get more participants? Because you said you guys had to cut that thing off.
We did.
With so many participants in it.
We did. So it's just a matter of we've got to find the courts to host it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because we need about 6 to 8 courts in one location to do that, to host it.
Yeah, because I know we had the big Parks and Rec bond issue not too terribly long ago. I know they've done some improvements, especially out at was it Sammy Davidson? I believe they did some work out there too. So there is some goodness on the end of that for you guys too, right?
Right. Yeah, and then they're getting some, I believe, built out at Northeast near the softball complex.
So that would be an opportunity maybe to host more of that for you guys, right?
Yes, and we'll also be having our Net Fest in March, and we'll having pickleball then.
Pickleball is going to be a part of Net Fest.
I have to ask this question because I have some friends who are involved in this part. What about the shooting sports? Has that been growing like you want to see, or adding?
It has.
They seem to indicate that there was a lot of people participated in that part last year.
It has. We are seeing kind of a steady growth in all of our sports.
And I know that down at Bonacci, of course, that's a great facility for the target shoots and what have you. It seems like they're doing more and more of those every year.
They are. Like I said, the participation is rising, so we can't complain too much about it.
Very good. So
what is the sport that you do that is the most surprising one to you that's part of state games?
I think cornhole.
Cornhole.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did that's been in a short time?
Yeah, it's relatively new.
I saw that on some sports channel. I was flipping through the channels one day and saw
serious
them playing
stuff,
that,
man.
And I thought Southern football sports, SEC, was intense.
They get into
I mean, these people, I was watching for about a few minutes. I was like, I got to keep watching this because somebody's finna have a heart attack. I mean, it was almost as intense as the faces you see on those people, where they curl, when they throw that rock down the ice.
The Winter Olympics, curling.
Beyond me.
There's like a technique to it. I'm not good. I know it's shocking for y'all to have to admit that I'm not good at something, but I'm not good at cornhole.
I would think everybody get their training like at tailgating at football games.
You know why? You know why she's not good? They do their practice sessions at 6 a.m.
At 6 a.m. and 6 a.m. and 51 seconds.
Yeah. And I'm still in bed.
Still in bed. I love it. So, all right. And of course, with the expansion of the games too, you mentioned the great number of volunteers you guys have. But when you have obviously an expansion of the games and adding more games, that means more volunteers are needed. So, and I know that's a big need every single event. So
it is volunteers as well as sponsors. I mean, we got to keep state games in Meridian, and the only way that's going to happen is if we continue to have support from the city backing us in our local community.
Because a lot of other communities, Paul, would love to have it.
They would love it. Can you imagine? I know that people are lined up at the door waiting to come in.
Mm-hmm.
They are. That we have been approached many times about it. So as long as we have our local businesses and the community backing us up, then we'll keep it.
Well,
here.
I've always thought State Games was a jewel in East Mississippi. I mean, it's one of our signature events. It takes place. It draws in people from all over the state. Maybe it's never been to Meridian or any of the close by regions, because I know you have to play some things in towns that are close by. But we need to keep it here. I think that's one of those. That's one of those. What did they call that? Whenever your living is a good living if you have these kinds of things. Your standard of living is good if you can have state games, and I think that appeals to. We were talking earlier about bringing industry to this area. I think this is one of those events that you can showcase and say, hey, this is not happening anywhere else. It's because we're special here and we want you here too. So,
well, and the big thing too, I've always said about state games, Caroline, is all ages play. There's something for everybody. There's all kind of sports that everybody can participate in. There's always good stories that come out of state games, and a lot of great athletes that participate in a lot of these events go on to very successful careers in those particular sports, especially the baseball tournament that we've seen a lot of those guys come out of there and they've gone on to professional careers. So, but they got their start with state games, so that is really important. So
I was scouting out at the All-Star baseball game for potential Ole Miss recruits.
There we go. I think Ole Miss and State.
I think she's using her position to assist in the scouting.
Hey, it's not illegal anymore.
Okay.
NIL, transfer
You also
portal.
think
I thought I'd gotten a scoop here.
you also must realize that I really don't know a whole lot about it. So, they hit a home run, and I go, "Oh, recruit them."
They need that feller.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Yeah.
Never mind. That's the first one he's ever hit in his life.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, State and Ole Miss could use a lot of help on the baseball diamond right now, to be honest. So,
Good.
of course, Pumpkin Run next Saturday morning. It's going to start bright and early at 8 o'clock. Of course, if folks do not want to pre-register, they can do that on site. Correct?
Sure can, up until 7:45 a.m. And I do quickly want to give a shout out to our Pumpkin Run sponsors. We got Sun South John Deere, Walmart, Coca-Cola of Meridian, Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen, and Sonic.
Fantastic. So
There's a meme that I'm saving. I'm going to post in coming weeks. It's a field of pumpkins that are all just totally white, and underneath it says the pumpkin spice poachers have hit again. So I saw a place where they change oil, putting a sign up saying pumpkin spice oil is available.
So if you get the pumpkin spice out there, you might get a whole different group of people.
There you
It
go.
will be in my coffee.
It'll be in your coffee?
Much.
So you're
It will
So
be in my
you're one of
coffee.
those
I've just become one.
Just become okay.
pumpkin spice.
And I was surprised that
I'm
I
a pumpkin
became
pie
one.
guy myself. I'm not a huge coffee spice pumpkin spice guy, but
You see where they're starting to put this in into shakes and stuff like that?
I know.
I don't quite understand that.
I
Yeah.
saw a dip, like
oh,
a cookie.
Wendy's has a
Yeah.
frosty.
Yeah, I
that's
think
a
that's what-
pumpkin
yeah.
spice frosty now.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
really?
no.
Don't mess with a classic, man.
No.
Don't mess
No.
with a classic. So, next Saturday morning, Pumpkin Run. Of course, if they need more details, they can go over to stategames.ms.org, right?
Sure. Or call us at 601-482-0205.
And if you want to volunteer, Caroline will put you to work.
I know.
Yeah.
She'll
I
put you in
will.
early.
Yes.
What's fun is she lets us digress when we're doing these things. She's really good. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
We're going to take a break here. And, of course, Caroline will be stopping by next week leading up to the event as well to talk more about the State Games Pumpkin Run. Caroline, always good to see you and appreciate what you guys do down at State Games.
Thank y'all.
All right,
All
we're going
right.
to take a break, and we'll be right back. It's probably not the best Steve Miller choice, but that's one. That's the one.
It's one of those songs that probably wouldn't get recorded today. I want abracadabra. I want to reach out and grab you. I just don't think that lyric is one that's gonna pass the test these days.
Stranger danger, mommy, he
Although
touched me.
I will play it in a heartbeat.
I know. I love it.
Because they're a lot worse out there.
Yeah. Appreciate Caroline Compton for coming by to see us. Love the state games of Mississippi. Just a big part of our community. And the Pumpkin Run is coming up next Saturday morning. Get more details over at stategamesofms.org. And she'll be visiting us next week leading up to the event as well. A lot of stuff going on in the community. Of course, we mentioned the big fish and shrimp meals going to be over at the Fleet Reserve this Saturday. Also, I want to give a big shout out to the E.J. Knox King Solomon Masonic Lodge. They are holding their annual Boston Butt Sale this Saturday. If you'd like to purchase one of those butts for $30, you can drop by 5073 Russell Tompton Road in Tombsuba, or you can call Fred Bean. His number is 601-480-9301. Once again, that's 601-480-9301. Pickup time is going to be 8 a.m. until 12 noon. That is this Saturday with the Masonic Lodge there in Tombsuba with the Boston Butt Sale. So $30 there to support that organization. And
I like big butts.
And another big event going on.
You let that go by.
I know. I just, big butts. Morning at Mary Hope. Don't want to forget about our friends over at Mary Hope. Of course, during the entire month of October, on the second floor of Mary Hope, they're going to have the Morning at Mary Hope event. Going to be Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Learn more about history with Mary Hope. It is another crown jewel in our crown here in Meridian. Admission is $10 for adults, $5 for students. And it's going to be a big tour, and you're going to learn a lot about Mary Hope. And Morning at Mary Hope is spelled MOURNING. So about the morning process and what they did at Mary Hope years ago. So that's going to be a great exhibit there, and they're going to have a special event toward the end of the month we'll continue to plug as well. So you've got Earth's Bounty Saturday morning. We got Riley Center going to be rolling. We got a lot of stuff going on with the railroad this weekend.
I bet not here. There ain't nothing to do in Meridian.
Ain't nothing to do.
I want to Saki circle back to you mentioned Fred Bean and the E.J. Knox. Fred used to be the Grand Secretary at Grand Lodge over here. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for way longer than either one of us want to admit. But Fred and I share a birthday. We have the same birthday. I forget exactly. It's like an exact number of years difference. I don't remember what the exact number is, but Fred and I for years celebrated our birthday together. I'd go down and we'd have cake and ice cream at the Grand Lodge together. And then this last year, he actually popped up at my office while we were having cake and ice cream and joined us.
I love it.
It was fabulous. So shout out to my buddy Fred Bean.
Absolutely.
Y'all buy some butts from him.
There you go. 601-485-9191 here at Mornings of Meridian. Let's take an opportunity right now to talk about some other great folks here that are just fantastic. That's Premier Paint and Body. Folks, it's going to happen. You're going to get in that little fender bender, something might happen to your vehicle. And I always say the first spot I want to go to, only spot, is Premier Paint and Body.
Just have them take your car right there. If they need to drag it, haul it, whatever, take it to Premier Paint and Body right there on Highway 39 next to Johnson Dodge. Go in and ask to see any of the people there, but Danny Shelton for sure, and let them take care of your car and get it back on the road. First of all, it's going to be in the original manufacturer's condition. It's going to be safe. They're not going to let you get out on the road on a car that's not safe. And on top of that, you're going to look as good as you could, because that car will be in pristine condition when it comes out of their shop. With the new paint or whatever it takes to put it back on the road. They have a bunch of years. We keep saying over 90 years, but time flies. It could be 100 by now. But they got a lot of experience. They have, like new results. You won't ever realize it's ever had a fender bender or anything with it. No job is too small or too large. They give free estimates. They work with the insurance company, so it doesn't have to be a fender bender. It could be just somebody scratched your car. Somebody, that ding you get when somebody opens a car door in the parking lot. They can fix that kind of stuff. Just give them a call. As I said, they're located next to Johnson Dodge on Highway 39. They're open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're open right now waiting for you to come down there. Give them a call. It's 601-482-PAINT. That's 601-482-7246.
All right, let's go back to our phone line here at Mornings of Meridian. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Joe!
I really love that. That makes me feel tingly all over.
All over.
Don't tell my wife that.
Yeah.
Too late.
Too
Okay.
late. It's out there.
Well, good morning. I wanted to let y'all know I bought a new car.
I kind of knew
I
that.
saw a picture of it.
I kind of knew this already.
You was sporting around. It looked good.
Yeah, I'm ready to run away from home now a lot more often.
Yeah, but you got note to pay, don't you?
Yeah.
All right. Don't quit
It's not
work yet.
bad.
Don't quit.
I can't complain. They gave me the price on the car that I wanted. They gave me the note that I wanted, and it has very low miles. So
Wow.
I can't complain.
Beautiful. Love it.
Good for you. I'm proud of you.
So while I'm floating on the cloud, I have to completely and honestly, blatantly accuse the city of Meridian of extortion.
Okay. Tell me more.
I went to go get my license plate, and she says, "Ma'am, you haven't paid a garbage fee." I said, "That's correct." She goes, "But you have to have a garbage can." I said, "No, ma'am, I do not." She said, "Yes, ma'am, you do." I said, "No, ma'am, I do not." She said, "Well, what do you do with your garbage?" I said, "Lady," I said, "I travel a lot. I eat out a lot." I said, "I'm single. I hardly have any trash to speak with." I said, I either bring it to work or I drop it off at a gas station." I said, "I do not need a garbage can." "Well, you can't get your license plate without paying the garbage fee." I said, "So in other words, you're holding my license plate ransom for $100 garbage fee."
Oh, that's.
And then her face went white and she just looked at me. I said, "You do realize that's extortion, right?"
And this would be the county, obviously, not the city. So
I was in the city hall in Meridian to go
okay.
get my license plate. And everybody in line was like, "Uh-oh, this is not going to be."
Were you at the courthouse or were you at City
Yes.
Hall? You were.
I was at wherever I had to go to get the license plate right there
Well,
in
yeah,
town.
that would be the courthouse.
Yeah, that's
for
gonna
sure.
be that's gonna
Yeah,
be the
the courthouse.
courthouse. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a Lauderdale County deal, not a City of Meridian deal.
Right, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, I really don't appreciate it. There's no reason why I have to have a garbage can because I will not use it. And I told the woman, I said, "Do not send me one." I said, "I will pay for it because I have no choice." I said, "You are not giving me a choice because I have to have a license plate." I said, "But I really don't need that garbage can."
Did
So
you
I said, "Do not send it to my house. I don't want it. I don't need it. Don't bring it."
did you explain to her that you're Joe from Chunky?
It didn't matter. I don't think they care. I think they're so damn greedy up there. They will do whatever they got to do to get money.
I just thought
And that's one of the big problems of this city.
I just thought if you led with that, they would go, "Yeah, we don't want to mess with her."
No, I don't. They work, so I don't know if they even listen to the show. But it doesn't matter to me because, like I told that woman, I said, "I really don't appreciate it." I said, "I do not want that license plate." And everybody in line was like, I could tell the tension was growing in the air.
Yeah,
and she said, and then she's like, "Well, we were told the place is vacant." She said, "How long have you lived there?" I said, 15 years.
Wow.
So I don't know if she's going to go over to my landlord and try to force him to pay whatever should have been paid. But I told her, I said, "I don't appreciate that." I said, "I don't need the garbage can."
Well, I gotta go. I gotta go pay my tag today. I'll be sure to ask them. You remember seeing that and see what the look on their face
Man, don't be
is.
stirring the pot.
I want to stir it.
Them people are still shaking in their boots because Joe was there.
I
think you misjudged your fame, though. You said that you didn't think they listened to the show, and that's why they didn't know who you were. I'm telling you, Joe from Chunky is bigger than.
I'm going to investigate this today.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit.
Well, maybe so, but I mean, I have a right not to have a damn garbage can, right? We used to have dumpsters and we could bring our garbage whenever we wanted. But somebody decided that was not enough money, or they were paying money and not getting any benefits. So they decided, well, we'll make everybody pay $100 a year. We'll make all kind of money. So I even asked that woman, well, I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, I was about to ask that woman, how much money does a city make in that contract versus how much the company makes for picking it up?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. I can tell you that it is convenient from my perspective, living in the county, not in the city. living in Marion, to be able to take.
That's another thing. I live on the county. I live almost to Chunky. I mean, it's stupid.
So, Joe, let me ask you this: you said that you're renting with a landlord? Is that correct?
Yes.
Bottom line is that should be, in my opinion, if you are renting, then that should be something the landlord and the tenant should work out as far as maybe a fee to pay, because that landlord is ultimately responsible for the garbage fee.
Right.
So that would be something that you and him or whoever could work out as maybe a fee, like say the first of the year or whatever. But if that has not been an agreement, then the landlord should have been responsible for that.
But that doesn't make any difference if I don't want one and I told him I don't want one.
Sure, yeah.
Then what difference does it make? Who is responsible for it?
Yeah.
I mean, if I had a family and I had kids and I was generating garbage worth needing a garbage can, that's a different story. But I don't. I mean, y'all know that I'm always working. Y'all know I'm always gone.
Yeah.
What in the hell is it worth my time and my $100 a year? And then some kid's going to say, well, it's not that much a month. It's not the point. It's the freaking principle. You're forcing me to do something. I don't want to be extorted for a freaking license plate.
I heard a lot of people say that the bond issue was about principle, too.
Oh, no.
It actually is. And bringing that up again, let me ask you a question.
I was trying to diffuse the situation.
No. If they really needed money that bad, why, just like you all said earlier, did they spend $50,000 on this election when they could have used that $50,000 to fix things over at Clarkdale?
Well, you know, there was another question. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. I didn't bring this up earlier, but they were talking about they were going to use some of the bond money to renovate the rooms that used to be CTE training. And my point is, don't you have construction services as part of your CTE? Wouldn't that be a good job for them to do, to learn on-the-job training to do the renovation at the schoolrooms?
Well, it's just the same thing when I had a conversation with Roger. Oh, well, you know, we need mechanics. We need this. I said, okay, let's just say, for example, you have 20 people that are going to mechanics class, and you got 20 people that are going to construction class. Where are those jobs? You are making me pay a tax for something that this city, this community is not going to reap any benefits. Are there 20 jobs available for 20 students? No, of course not. There may be two, and let's just be honest, everybody needs a good mechanic. But if you really want to help these people, why don't you get them to open up their own mechanic shop? And it's like, if they're going to go work at Nissan, they still got to go to the Nissan school to learn how to work exclusively on Nissan.
Right.
So the mechanic part really doesn't make any difference. You got to have a basic knowledge, which most people do, but you got to know what you're doing when you're dealing with a Nissan or a Volvo or a Range Rover or everything else, and they've got to send you to school for that.
Correct.
So what is the benefit we're going to have from the CTE? And the other question we need to ask, how are these kids going to get to that school all the way over there by 11 and 80? What about the bus drivers? Are they going to get paid extra money if they're going to bus these kids over there? What about their gas? What about their job? Are they going to get a pay raise?
Fair question.
I mean, come on now. I mean, you want a grocery list. Well, let me ask you this. Who's going to pay my grocery list? I'd like somebody to pay mine.
Well, we forgot to pay your $100 garbage fee, we missed that one.
We got to pay your garbage fee and your groceries?
That's exactly correct.
Golly, you act like you want some kind of nanny state where they're going to take care of you from cradle to grave.
What are you, a Democrat now?
I am not one of those. Y'all know that I won't. Don't even start that category with me.
I was starting to feel like she was channeling Ruth.
Oh, no, don't even start there.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Just checking.
Those are fighting words right there.
No. We're not going there.
I was just checking.
Well, anyway, you know I love y'all, so I just wanted to put that little story out there and see what happens. I want to know which rats are going to feed on that little piece of cheese.
Well, we at least hope you enjoyed the new ride.
Oh, you have no idea. I'm going to New Orleans. My next trip is going to be going to Tupelo in November for my girlfriend's birthday.
Nice.
It's nice to have a good ride when you're going on that much mileage.
That's right.
Well, the only thing that scared me is I got up this morning and I went to go to work, and it says that one of my tires was low. And I got to work, and the guy said it might just be the weather because the new tires, they do that when the temperature changes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it happens.
So if that's going to happen, I'm going to be really messed up this winter.
Well, no, because here's what we found is that your tires can vary, usually with 2-3 pounds, depending on whether it's cold in the morning and once you start riding on the road. So if you have one that's borderline, it could drop below and your sensor go off. But we had that happen recently, and I put some air in the tire. It went away. We watched it. A couple of days later, it came back, and we realized we had a problem. And it turned out to be a small nail in the tire, and you get that fixed, and the problem goes away. Sure. So just monitor it. This would be my mechanic advice to you. I did not go to CT training for this, but put a little air in it, see if the sensor says it's doing better, and then just watch it. If it happens again, be sure to check it before you get on the highway.
Yes, sir.
All
I
right.
promise.
Thank you.
Love y'all. I'll talk to y'all later.
All
Bye.
right.
Bye.
We're providing all kinds of customer service right here on the radio show.
Customer service is my favorite thing.
It is a good thing.
Let's go to line 2 here on Mornings in Meridian. I don't know how anybody could follow that, but we're going to give them a shot here. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Miss Ruth.
I haven't listened. I haven't listened to the station in quite a while because some things have been going on. But today I did, and I'm happy that I did. Now, what is the meaning of? I thought you were channeling Ruth. What is that about?
Well, because I was saying the fact that you're oftentimes advocating that we do more for people and we take care of people and we give things away for free to help people that can't help themselves, I guess, and that's what she was kind of referring to.
Oh, that wasn't what she was saying. Giving people things. She was saying not charging her for things that she does not want, which is different from what.
Well, that was early in the conversation, yes, but later in the conversation, she made some reference to getting something. They needed to be giving her something, and that's all I was referring to.
You just wait until I see you eyeball to eyeball. But listen.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Okay, so do you...
Let me add this. Let me say this quickly because I know you don't have enough time, and I didn't get a chance to tell you before. We were talking about the bond and everything. We were talking about school.
Yes, ma'am.
And at one time we were talking about how people were talking about in the city and how in the area they're not good schools. But what I want to say is about the 2021, 2022 school year. Clarksdale High School has an A. Northeast Lauderdale High School has an A. Southeast Lauderdale High School has a B. West Lauderdale High, West Lauderdale High has an A. And Meridian High has a B. B as in boy. And I am so happy because 2 years ago we were looking at a D or something. And each year there's been this improvement. And I just think that is wonderful that Meridian High is now up to, in terms of this past year, a B level, B as in boy. And I think it is wonderful, and we really should, go on and on and on and out and let them continue to keep, to improve the way they should. We've got Clarksdale Elementary an A, Northeast Lauderdale Elementary an A, Northeast Lauderdale Middle a C, Southeast Lauderdale Elementary an A, Southeast Lauderdale Middle an A, West Lauderdale Elementary an A, West Lauderdale Middle School an A, Crestwood Elementary School an A, Magnolia Middle School a D, Northwest Junior High School a D, Oakland Heights Elementary School a B as in boy, Parkview Elementary School a B as in boy, Poplar Springs Elementary School, and something must be wrong here. This have a C here. I don't know, and I got this from Mr. Scott there in Jackson. So I need to call back and see what happened here.
Okay.
Poplar Springs Elementary School has a C rating. All right. And it usually has an A. I don't know what went wrong. All right. And T.J. Harris Elementary School has a C rating, and West Hills Elementary School has a B as in boy rating.
Okay.
And yes. So I want to share that with you. As a matter of fact, I was going to do that when we first started talking about the bond issue, and I totally agree. It was just so upsetting. This is a warning us to, although it didn't affect me, I couldn't have voted anyway, but I thought it was just awful the way it was handled.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just really no excuse for that. It's terrible.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
I think Miss Ruth, we can all agree that the way the whole process went had a ton of flaws in it. Ton of flaws.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Well, so good to hear from you. We're glad you're doing okay other than talking about the issues. Everything else going?
Yeah, I was telling you, you're about my childhood friend, since first grade, the sudden death and everything, and I'm still trying to recover from that.
Gotcha.
But like I said before, what it is, I really do want to find out about the school situation. What happened here? We're interested in the students and what went wrong. Poplar Spring usually has an A rating. Why do they have a C this past year? Like, what's going on?
Right.
And with Meridian High, we definitely need to be proud of Meridian High, who was like D along the way. They've got a B rating as in B as in boy.
Right.
I think that is wonderful, just wonderful.
Well, okay.
Right.
Well, we got to run and pay off the rest of our commercials here, but so good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you.
I was just teasing you.
All right.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
All right, 601-485-9190. We do need to take this break here and pay off the rest of our bills. We'll be back to wrap up the show in minutes. Better choice there.
I just like any song that uses the word pompous, which it does not exist. He made it up.
I love it.
That's even better.
Steve Miller's celebrating his birthday today. He is 80. So welcome back into the show here. We got just a few minutes left before Glenn Beck takes over, rather. Of course, I got Clay and Buck after that. And at 11, then the great Sean Hannity at 2, and then Joe Pags on your drive home. But before we split this morning, we need to thank our friends over at Martin Roofing. I'm a satisfied customer like a lot of folks are out in the community, and boy, they do a great job from start all the way through cleanup.
Look, if your roof is not keeping elements out of your house or your business, you need to call Martin Roofing today. They've been doing it right for 30-plus years.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. They're locally owned, and we love local owned. They are locally owned, locally operated. They're licensed in the state of Mississippi. And more importantly, they take pride in standing behind the work that they do for you. In fact, the comment I hear from most people is your place will be cleaner when they're finished than it is before they start, because they clean up after themselves and they make sure that you're not going to find any nails or anything else on your property when they're done. Their applications include shingles, metal, rubber, commercial roofing. I've used them on the commercial basis. You used them on the residential
absolutely.
side. They were happy to give you a free estimate and do inspections for damage. Give Doug Martin Sr. or Doug Martin Jr. a call at 601-485-5920. They'll be glad to help you with any of your roofing needs.
Fantastic. Of course, the Speaker of the House story, didn't really get a chance to get into that, Paul. That is an absolute just deadgum mess right now up on the Hill. Of course, they won't get into that till next week. It looks like Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan have thrown their hat into the ring. We'll see kind of which way that vote's going to go, probably by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week.
Here's my hot take on that.
Yeah.
If you continue to do the same thing, expecting different results, that's insanity, right?
Yeah.
So why not shake up the pot every once in a while?
Sometimes you got to do that. So we'll see how it goes. But Jim Jordan was on Fox and Friends earlier this morning. Of course, little surprised he's putting himself into that. Of course, he's on the Judiciary Committee, the chairman of that, but he's going to throw his hat in the ring for speakership. And, of course, Steve Scalise would be a good choice, but my biggest concern with Mr. Scalise, he's in a cancer battle right now.
And I was unaware of that until you told me this morning.
The health issues, you have to worry about that. Hopefully he's going to be okay. We pray for him. We hope that's going to be the case. But
that's a lot of stress to put on somebody in that situation.
That position especially.
Right, especially after this kind of situation. So I think Jim Jordan would be better for handling that, given that situation. But, yeah, I'm thinking you got to shake the pot every once in a while. You cannot make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
All right, folks, have a good rest of your day. Paul, always good to see you. Hang out with you.
Have fun, man.
Absolutely. Of course, we'll do a fun Friday tomorrow. Toby Bates will be in, and we'll enjoy that day with you as well. Folks, have a good one. Buy local.